Have you ever wondered, what if chemtrails are real? Chemtrails are a touchy subject for many, as it is one of those conspiracies that is very difficult to fathom. The majority of people could never imagine the government testing different chemicals unbeknownst to the public. We currently are working on proving or disproving chemtrails. But before we release that video, we have to discuss the top 10 government testing of citizens without our knowledge. Number 10. Nuclear testing. Between 1951 and 1958, approximately 100 atmospheric nuclear tests were conducted at the Nevada test site, about 62 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The fallout from these tests contained radionuclides and gases which were transported thousands of miles away. Citizens all over the United States were exposed to varying levels of radiation. Number 9. Operation LAC, Large Area Coverage, between 1957 and 1958, was a U.S. Army Chemical Corps operation which dispersed microscopic zinc-cadmium sulfide particles over much of the United States to determine the dispersion and geographic range of biological and chemical agents. The U.S. Air Force loaned the Army a C-119 flying boxcar, which was used to disperse these chemicals by the tons in the atmosphere over the United States. Although evidence suggests that adverse health effects resulted, the U.S. National Research Council denied those claims. Number 8. Operation Sea Spray. From September 20th to the 27th in 1950, the U.S. Navy sprayed Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigii over the San Francisco Bay Area, releasing enough gas for nearly all of the city's 800,000 residents to inhale millions of particles each day. Although the government denies adverse health effects, pneumonia and heart valve infections increased dramatically. No known reason of why these tests occurred, but speculation has arisen saying that they wanted to test biological outbreaks in the United States. Number 7. Project SHAD, or Shipboard Hazard and Defense. Project SHAD was conducted during the 1960s and were designed to identify U.S. warships' vulnerabilities to attacks with chemical agents or biological warfare, and to develop procedures to respond while maintaining a war-fighting capability. Several chemicals were used, including sarin and VX, in 46 different tests, where they infected approximately 6,000 U.S. service members without their knowledge. So to protect our soldiers from chemical warfare, we used chemical warfare on our soldiers. Number 6. Operation Bacterium. In 1966, the U.S. Army dispersed Bacillus globigii through light bulbs filled with the gas on New York and Chicago subway stations to test biological warfare on U.S. soil, infecting several thousands. Unknown how many people had ill effects to this experiment, as studies were never concluded. Number 5. DDT. DDT was a commonly used additive in insecticides and pesticides, used all over the world. Although scientists in the 1940s expressed concerns over health hazards, the government continued to use DDT until 1973, going so far as to record children being sprayed to ease the rumors of the ill effects. Although this helped kill mosquitoes, it was only at the cost of good health. Number 4. PTP-794. The United States is not the only country to test its citizens. In 1960, millions of people were exposed to clouds of radioactive xenon gas from the Harwell Nuclear Research Establishment in Britain. The British government released large clouds of gas over English towns and villages to help estimate what effects a biological or chemical warfare attack would have. The radioactive gas traveled so fast that scientists waiting to measure it 40 miles away did not have time to monitor it before it swept over their heads and on towards London. The effects are unknown, as the information wasn't released until the year 2000. Number 3. Operation Plum Bob. Another 29 nuclear tests in Nevada that radiated 120 million people in the United States, which caused between 11,000 and 212,000 excess cases of thyroid cancer, leading to between 1,000 and 20,000 deaths. In addition to civilian exposure, the government exposed over 3,000 servicemen to high levels of radiation. Number 2. Project Green Run. Project Green Run was another secret U.S. government release of radioactive chemicals iodine-131 and xenon-133. This radiation was distributed over populated areas from 1949 to 1962. Evidence suggests that filters to remove the iodine were removed at the Hanford Site Plutonium Production Facility in Washington State. Several of the surrounding cities were exposed, and the majority of people during this time died of cancer. It is still unknown the full casualty amount due to governmental denial. A fun fact on a morbid situation. In 2012, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, there is a zombies mode map called Green Run, which is set at Hanford. The layout of the map is nearly identical to that of the city of Hanford. Tied for first place is chemical testing in St. Louis. Throughout the city of St. Louis between 1953 and 1965, the government, in conjunction with GE, sprayed zinc cadmium sulfide with radioactive particles. These chemicals were dropped from airplanes, and the Army placed chemical sprayers on buildings like schools and public housing projects, and also mounted them in station wagons for mobile use. Once again, there is no information on how many people died due to the secret scheme. Number 1. Project Gabriel and Project Sunshine. Researchers in the United States, the UK, and Australia tried to determine how much nuclear fallout would be required to make the Earth uninhabitable. Thanks to Operation Plum Bob and other atmospheric nuclear testing, the entire world has been radiated. That's right. All of us have been radiated by our governments. The atmospheric detonations spread throughout the world, irradiating us all. Our next video will discuss chemtrails of today. With so many people denying the possibility of government releasing chemicals without our knowledge, we wanted to show factual, provable evidence that they have several times. The United States government can classify documents for 50 years, so unfortunately we only have provable information from the 60s. Imagine what we will find 50 years from now. As always, thanks for watching What If, and please subscribe.